Welcome to Strategic Insights Podcast. I'm your moderator, Andrew Mackel. Today we're having a great conversation with John Schmidt. John is our Senior Director of Strategic Services and IT Security. This is part of the podcast series where we're getting into product and service spotlight. Welcome today, John. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for taking the time today. I know we've had a number of people on so far, and one of the requests that we started seeing coming in through, of course, some of the user groups were some added information regarding some of the things that we're seeing in trends in industry on how we're supporting customers in the strategic side of the business. What are requirements coming in? And it led me to you. Of course, since your title is diverse here with strategic services and IT security, I wanted you to do me a favor and introduce yourself. Give a little background on your role with the organization and what you're responsible for.
Yeah, no problem. So John Schmidt. I'm like Andrew said, the Senior Director of Strategic Services and IT Security here. I started here about 10 years ago as a managed services manager, and just progressed a little bit through those 10 years. Before that, I was back in industry, working for a customer of Strategic's for some time on QAD upgrades and implementations and whatnot. Prior to that, I was doing consulting project management work for various different projects, such as touchscreen kiosk development and mobile app development. That's a little bit of background. I am certified in ITIL at the managing professional level. Implementing ITIL practices in our IT service management and now moving into the security realm of things as well.
John, I've had the pleasure of working with you for most of that 10 years since you being at Strategic, and we've come a long way in regards to what we offer and how we support customers. We have this thing called, of course, SIG serve, which we'll get into here in a little bit. Can you explain to us, from the start of your career to where you are now and what we're offering? How did that development, occur? Like, what was the initial hot commodity service or support item we were offering, and what has that developed into?
Yeah, back in about 2009, I believe, we had a customer who was hosted by our current hosting provider, and that hosting provider didn't understand QAD. They didn't know how to support it, and they were looking for a partner. So they've actually reached out to us to help them support that customer, and from that partnership, what we started off with as MDBA, Managed Database Administration Services, we've grown. I think when I started, we had 3 people on the team, 13 customers who we basically just opportunistically took over supporting their environments. It was very, I would say, not very structured, but it was growing. So we started to put some structure behind it and branch out and do more than just manage database administration. We started taking over QAD administration support. And that's when we kind of rebranded into what we called MServe, which was our managed services for QAD. From that point, we started branching out into application support and launched a product called HelpServe, where we were actually helping end users do more with QAD, solve problems with reporting and browses and those kind of things. And then from there, we started getting into the EDI services portion of QAD support, and we created another kind of team of what we call called eServe. eServe monitors and manages or monitored and managed EDI environments for some of our customers. And then more recently, we started merging all those down into one team, one cohesive unit that we now call SIGServe. And the reason we did that was, instead of having 3 different siloed support organizations, we wanted to bring them all together and basically create a team that could support any one of the requests that were coming through, whether it's EDI, application level or technical level. Everybody sees what everybody's doing, and we have a more structured approach to that support as well.
That's awesome. I know that I see many of our accounts we'll start off on like the help desk or the help serve side of the house, and it probably quickly transitions into more of the services. So I'm assuming that was the evolution where the help desk offering evolved just purely off of requests from customers.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the consulting organization would do an upgrade or an implementation of QAD, or an integration point with QAD. And then, from that point, we would do hypercare, right? We would take care of them as long as we could, following that implementation and upgrade. But then they wanted a longer term support approach, which is kind of where we came in, where we hand off that support from the consulting organization over to the services organization here. Um, so our goal here is long-term support for our customers. The team here learns the system, they grow with that system, they learn the people involved, and it just becomes a trusted partnership, where they're comfortable coming to us with anything that they can think of. And then, of course, there's a synergy between SIG Serve, our managed services practice, and with our consulting organization, where we know where where the lines are drawn, and where we need to bring that consulting organization in, and where they need to bring us in. So, and it's very transparent to our customers. We're able to do that fairly seamlessly at this point, and it works really well.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I think some of the biggest kudos I get from our customers that use the services is just the fact of it allows their team to focus on their business. Because a lot of times, a lot of the issues they'll run into are very infrequent, and just having one point of contact that could handle, like you said, the managed service side could be then a technical question, could be a service related question, it could be a help serve question where it's just a reporting issue. It really lets them expand the size of their team and their capability without having to add a ton of headcount, which is allows people to be flexible when looking at supporting their own environment and their own systems.
Yeah, absolutely. We're an extension of the teams over there. So, um, yeah, I think it's helped a lot of customers come to us with noisy systems. They're experiencing performance issues. They're experiencing stability concerns, scalability, all those different types of things. And they come to us with those issues. Our goal is to resolve those with them and build a program for knowing when to scale and how to scale.
Now I know I've had a couple of customers work directly with you, especially had noisy systems or systems that weren't noisy at all due to possibly issues or disaster recovery problems. Can you talk to maybe some of the things that you've helped customers, or how your team will jump in and support somebody in an emergency situation, and maybe a good outcome that have come of one of those situations?
Yeah, for sure. From a disaster recovery standpoint, we've helped several customers who have been experiencing ransomware attacks, and different vulnerabilities in their systems being exploited. Um, we've been able to get them back up and running in very quick amount of time. So we pull their on-premise environment into our hosting platform, so that they can get some infrastructure back up and running, without having to either pay the ransomware, or build their own new infrastructure in house. Um, we most recently had a customer suffer such an attack, and they wanted to be back up and running after the weekend. We were able to commit to doing that. We got them back up and running in, I would say, record time. They were very happy, but then we took over also the ongoing management and support of that environment, including the security aspects. So, it goes from all in, hosting, managed services, disaster recovery services, to, hey, I just need help with this browse, and can you guys help me out? So yeah, the support really ranges depending on what you're looking for.
And that customer, isn't somebody you were working with prior to that level, right? It was somebody that had a massive incident that you jumped in with your team, and within the weekend you had them back up and running. And it wasn't somebody we had hosted before. It's not somebody that that we had that level of support, but you were able to jump in and take over. And alleviate that problem. Because as we know, most of our clients, downtime is money, and money is problems. So that
Yeah,
was
absolutely. Yeah.
kudos to you and your team for working through the weekend on that one. So as we talked about the product, we went from this managed MDBA services to now what we call SIG which has got EDI functionality and technical and application and just a plethora of opportunity for customers to have access to support that they don't necessarily have to in-house anymore. What is the evolution like moving forward? As you look at what you see as demand now, what do you see as the growth area as you look to support your customers moving forward?
Yeah, I would say moving forward, a lot of people are looking at cloud options, and trying to get out of the infrastructure business, and also kind of outsource the responsibility of security and support to other organizations. So I see that being part of our future, expanding on our cloud offerings, and our hosting offerings as well. We host a lot of QAD environments, but we also host some non-QAD systems, and support non-QAD environments as well. So the idea here is just continue to grow in that direction. The big push to the cloud, I'd say, is a main driver of where we're heading for the future.
Awesome. As we look at this, I know that one thing that came up this morning for me, which made me think of you as well, is I had a couple people reach out regarding historical archiving, specifically on some companies that are doing acquisitions. And you noticed that you said you're supporting systems that aren't QAD. And as the world of acquisitions and divestitures happen, and people are running their ERP and other solutions, I can see that as being an area we definitely will be supporting more and more of, as people keep this 7-10+ year history of data, whether it be for the solution they're currently running or the solution that they acquired that they're moving off of.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've started doing that, providing hosting services for archived systems, read-only type systems, and then offering a light service level against that hosting, so that they have someone out there who can support that environment for a long time, right? They don't have to maintain their internal knowledge of that system. They can move those resources onto more value-added services for the business, while we take care of that archived hosting system and allowing that company to satisfy their auditors.
Very nice. So when a company moves that over to us, let's say they're using this for MDBA, that managed service, and possibly even hosting. What's that communication and support schedule look like? An average customer, how many times are you reporting back and working with them on their system, or notifying them of the health of their system? Can you just give me a rough look of what that type of support would look like?
On an archived system?
On a system that we're doing managed services on, for example, if we're doing MServe, and is it a monthly cadence? I mean, I know a little bit about this, but I want to make sure that customers understand that when they're looking for that type of support, and they're trying to offset their team to make their people more value add. How do we do that? What does that look like, from our standpoint of managing it and giving them the knowledge of what's going on, even though they're not the ones supporting it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, the managed services practice, what we call SIG Tech, is a 24/7 monitoring service, where basically our monitoring system is letting us know if there's any potential issues coming down the line. Um, if we see something coming, we have a team of staff watching that, reacting to it proactively. In most cases, we want to see things before they're going to cause impact to our customers' operations. So really, it's as proactive as we possibly can be in preventing issues, and allowing time to scale up on resources and those kind of things. We do have a monthly recurring meeting with all of our customers to show the entire health of their system, review what happened for over the last 30 days, and just basically plan out what's coming up going forward, and address any service level concerns that there may be. So yeah,
That's a great communication timeline, right? You're keeping them in the know. You're providing documentation on where they're at, and of course planning for the future, which I think a lot of times when people are trying to figure out headcount and how they're going to manage as they take this step to the cloud, that can be a real value. John, we covered a lot of good information today, and I think we'll be circling back to this topic again in the future, specifically as SigServe grows, as our hosting opportunities and offerings change. We'll make sure we touch base, and we'll keep people in light, as well as probably bring a customer in to do a joint podcast with a reference on there. Before we end, I wanted to give you a little time to say, hey, what do you think is the big value that if someone's listening today of that what SigServe and what your team and department bring to the table for a customer that might be looking for any avenue of what you offer?
Yeah, I mean, really, what it comes down to is peace of mind. Um, just knowing that you have an entire team of QAD experts from the application, technical, infrastructure, security, EDI standpoint, for less than the cost of a resource in most cases, to be able to support you if you do have any issues at any given time. So it really just comes down to, your users, are no longer your monitors. We do that for you. We should be letting you know ahead of time when there's potential issues coming down the pipe. Um, and yeah, just having that one place to go for everything that you could ever need in terms of supporting your QED environment.
John, that's a great close. I can't. I don't think the ROI can be understated. So I want to thank you for your time. We're going to keep this one short and sweet because I know there will be a follow up.
Okay.
And I look forward to speaking to you again and hopefully bringing a client on as well as we keep this evolution moving forward. So thank you again.